Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing okay. Happy Sunday or Monday, wherever you're at. I'm having not too bad of a day. I had a very strange morning. I'll tell you about it in a little bit here. Our Jeep just showed up, that CJ7 I was telling you about with the plow. The guy wanted that quad runner in the truck that we have, so in trade. So yeah, it's a rat, but it doesn't matter as long as, and the plow's nice and I've already seen it run, so it's like, hey, that's cool. Good. That's the good news for today. Um it's very strange. I heard two people quoting scripture that I never thought would be quoting scripture. Um One that I don't know if he's doing it, that was raised Catholic and actually put, well, one time, for many times, had been saying, if there is a God. And I would write something like, WTF, do you mean if? You know? And now he's like openly talking about God instead of ignoring the facts. Because the thing is, if you fall on your face and God's talking to you when you're down there, you're really aware of what's going on. And if you're not aware of that, you might have major problems. But I'm just saying that I see in my mind's eye when things happen to people when God's talking to them and they're not listening. And then this morning, Doug was quoting scripture and he shared something on his Patriots Unite Facebook group that was a inspirational message, and I'm like, oh, there's something weird going on here. Um, Maybe there's hope for the world. Maybe it's a big damn scam. But like I told him, even if you're scamming me, I'm gonna try because I have hope. I'll keep trying to reach people, but don't be surprised if you're sitting here alone by yourself someday. Because if that's whatever, I mean, a person can really only take so much in life. So, and then if it came to that, I wouldn't feel bad at all. So, but it was odd. It's kind of like when Doug's dad died and we had gone to the um, wake before he was buried. Um, we all went in the church, and then in a church that he said he did not want to be buried through because they had denied him. He was a ditch digger, and he wasn't, his Doug's dad was. He dug graves, and they looked down on him and actually would not let those children, his children, they didn't want him in that church because he didn't have enough money to support the ministry there. And they made it really evident to the children. And Doug's dad said, don't bury me through that church. But his mom had decided to anyway, and it was the church that Doug was confirmed through, and the church that Doug's dad had gone to when he was a little boy. So that part of it was sad. But the thing about it is, in the over 30 years, going on 32 years that I've known Doug, I've only heard him sing maybe 3 times. Couple times where, well, like he'll sing something like funny, but not really in tune of anything. But when we were in that church singing those hymns before his dad was put in the ground, Doug has the most beautiful singing voice of just about any man you could ever hear. And I would really love to hear him sing from from the happiness of his heart, not the sadness. That's if I ever hear him sing again, I think it might be the work of God. That's all I'm saying. So, but even have somebody talk about, we were talking about how Moses didn't make it into the promised land, and I told him maybe he wasn't meant to. Maybe he was meant to, his spirit to stay here to take care of his people. And maybe their promised land isn't the same promised land as what Moses was. And yeah, well, we had some. See, to me, a Sunday for me is a family day, and it's always been to me the Lord's day, God's day, and it should be peaceful and tranquil. Well, today is, but they haven't always been. So, but there's something. It's not just a nostalgic feeling like of what it was when I was a kid, because a lot of them Sundays were absolutely horrible. And even being around family was horrible. So it's not the people that were included in all that. It was the feeling of the day itself. Maybe the combination of the hearts that are praying and hoping on this day, along with the rest of us that are doing that today. Not just in a church, but in a family minded, that's who you are in your heart. So, yeah, like usual, just telling you what's on my mind today, not much more. I don't have any really set something I'm going to talk about. So, just a very nice day, and I'm happy for it. Like I say, I really, really hope you're having a good day too. There's no more that I could wish for everybody on the planet. And I hope the people that are very, very, very wealthy on this planet can find a different kind of happiness that will ease their soul, because no matter if they look comfortable on the outside, I know the misery that they're suffering on the inside. No matter what they say or how they appear, I know that. I know it to be a fact. I've seen it up close, being around people with well to do, and they're just miserable. So sad, really. Unless they're too cruel, then I'm not really too sad for them. I used to be. But so we'll see how all this plays out. Because really, like Doug said yesterday, it's just, I said, I'm just trying to help them so they won't suffer. And yes, I get frustrated and I get angry, but I do love everybody. And he said he's going to help me with that, help them, and help me help them. But it's like he said, it's like I said, but it's just like they keep sabotaging themselves. And that's when he said it's like pouring gas on their own heads. And that's a really good explanation of what they're doing to themselves that they really don't recognize, because they have the abilities, these people. There's people that I talk to that I know they have the abilities to help people in a big way, bigger than what they're doing. They're capable of so much more, and they're not doing it. I don't know if it's out of fear or if it's out of I think it's a lot to do with like peer pressure or how they'll appear in the public eye, and it might have a lot to do with, say, if they have a YouTube channel and they're rather large, like maybe 100,000 or whatever, what they're gonna say if they're gonna say something, because who's gonna think this if I say that? What type of person would come against me? And really, who are you trying to reach? You know, I don't know. But I see that there's people that have a lot more potential in their life and could be doing a lot more to help people in a bigger way, and they're not doing it, you know? I mean, if you could afford to give a homeless person $1,000, even $100, and they could go buy a pair of shoes and a nice set of clothes and be able to get that job that they want, you know, or to get them off the street so they could function and build up their strength. I mean, you can't just take somebody that's been beat the hell and put them in a 8 hour, 40-hour week and expect that. I mean, it could maybe a younger person, like maybe somebody under 30, they're a little more resilient. But if you have people and they're getting up in the age and they've been out there and they've been beaten and downtrodden or even on drugs or whatever their story may be, we can't expect these people just to be pulled off the street and put into a workforce that they're going to be okay. So, what, as people in society, what are we going to do to help them? How can we help them? You know, if we can think of ways to do that, even on an individual basis, maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. It's just disturbing that I know people that have enough money that they can make some sandwiches and take them out to the homeless. I mean, whatever it takes, you know. Or maybe you're afraid to get too close to them. I don't know. I have no clue. But and it's not even so much that a lot of them are starving or homeless. It's that they're on drugs and they can't do their drugs in a homeless shelter. Therefore, they end up sleeping outdoors and not eating. That's pretty sad just onto itself. I don't think anybody chooses just to be homeless or a drug addict. Not really. Something pretty horrible has led these people to be in that position. Something or someone, you know. Yeah, there might be some awful people out there, but were they always awful? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think most of them probably were, you know. But what gets me is I was in the car with my mother and my sister down in Texas, and they drove by this homeless man on the corner by a ramp coming off a street going onto a highway. And like, I don't know, I didn't think it would have been outrageous for one of us to hand a dollar bill out the window, and I was waiting for one of my blood relatives to feel like I did, and they didn't, and I didn't get it. I think it's because they're desensitized to it. They see too much of it. Maybe they haven't been in that position deep enough, maybe a little bit here or there, but maybe not deep enough to feel what that would feel like. Or maybe they think that if they gave a dollar to somebody or some food or something that would be some kind of a waste, or that they'd have more money for drugs, or but this person did not look like a druggie, and he had a sign that said will work for food. you know I don't know. Like I say, I'm just speaking my mind out loud. So if my sisters watch this, that's how I feel. I can't help how I feel. How you feel is how you feel. How I would go about things if I was there is different than what I saw. That's all I'm saying. You know, maybe not every single day, but it just, I don't know what the hell you're thinking, you know, or if you're even thinking about that, you know. As long as most people are comfortable, they rarely think about their fellow human beings. I've noticed, you know. So yeah, it's sad, but if people see the Biden administration right now could take the money that we're helping other people in other countries and apply it to the people that need help right here. And that those thoughts won't ever leave my mind. There's nothing we should be doing in other countries before what we've got going on here is taken care of. And then to set that example for the rest of the world. And that's a possibility, you know. No, there should not be one human being sleeping outside in the cold or without a meal. I don't give a shit what drug they're on or what they're doing. You know, if they're criminal and they're hurting people, well, then they need to be dealt with in that respect. But people that are just out there and obviously they're sick and obviously they can't help themselves, because if they could, they would, you know. So that bugs me. I look out at the snow and it bugs me thinking about that. So, I mean, there's people that wouldn't even feed a stray cat out in the cold, let alone a human being. So, I mean, in fact, there's ones that would feed a cat before they would the human being. And that's even more disturbing. These people that say that, and I used to say this when I was a child, that I liked my animals more than I do people, but I was a child. There's adults saying these things, you know. Of course, you're going to like an animal more than you do a human being. The animal can't tell you, although they do talk, um, how low they're actually acting, you know. But another human being can. Another human being can assess how a person is relating to them, whereas typically an animal isn't going to express that. So, yeah. But yeah, there's all these posts, yeah, about animals, how people can love their animals like family, but not think once of the suffering human beings, you know. There's plenty of people taking care of animals, yeah, but not taking care of the animals, the creatures that look just like you. Isn't that something? But then there's mothers that don't take care of their own children. They're dirty, they're unfed, and I don't understand that either at all, you know, or fathers that will leave their children vulnerable to this world. None of this. I don't understand it, but I guess they must have their reasons. It's beyond me, but they must have them. Must be something inside there that tells them, well, your child's asking you to make something to eat, or there's no food in the house, mom, or whatever. And there's something inside that parent, mom or dad, that says, what do you want me to do about it? You know, or that type of attitude. Well, maybe you could get off your big muffin butt and go tell a neighbor that you'll scrub their toilet for a loaf of bread, or, whatever it takes. Yeah, that's what love would do. You know, that's what a loving parent would do, whatever it takes to take care of their child. But then we've got all these people out here that want to have sex and want to make babies, and they call it procreation, and throw their creation to the dogs. And what's going on in this world really is people are trying to treat God like he's an absent parent when they want free will. They want free will, and they want to be a co-creator, but they don't want to do it the right way. They want to do it their way, no matter what. Doesn't get them very far. Really doesn't. That's why I scoff at people a lot that talk about being a co-creator. Go. I won't use the profanity that almost came out of my mouth for that one. You didn't create shit. It's all God. Those are his children he gave us to take care of for him. You didn't create them. God did. That's my retort for that. So do it the right way, or keep your shit in your pants. you know? Yeah, but people have trouble doing that. Not always. Some people do grow up. Some people actually realize that their pleasures on this earth really isn't all that it's cracked up to be, you know. And maybe what they're doing here calls for more of an effort than what you've ever done before. And if that's your calling, you're going to know it, because God's not going to let you alone. He's going to keep giving you information and keep telling you to talk to other people, whether it's just for their own comfort or to console a friend, or people that are struggling or lonely or whatever the case may be. That might be the only reason God has you out there talking. It might just be for one person. That one person that might be able to uplift 10,000 people. You know, that could be the only reason you were even made. Think on that. It's not self serving, it's serving God, and it's serving other people. And not doing what he asks us to do is a disservice, not only to yourself, but everybody else too. And there's no way you could talk about love and not care about human beings in the same breath. It just doesn't work like that, you know. Here's a scenario for me. If there was a little ragamuffin kid and it was healthy and happy and barefoot and kind of dirty and probably hungry, and then you had a well to do child that was really well dressed, and a lot of them aren't always very well mannered because they've been raised in an environment where being rude to other people is sort of a thing. But if that well to do child fell, I would still go help that child. Even though I didn't like it, that child, and I most likely wouldn't, I would still go pick it up and help it. And I do say it because that's the type of bloodline that are rude and think they're entitled. I'd pick it up and then I'd probably try and find some shoes for the little ragamuffin, give him something to eat, or her, you know. But that's the type of personality I expect out of everybody. I really do. And the best friends that I've had on this planet, even though they've been few and far between, had that same type of personality that they just can't um, go on with their life as usual and ignore the sorrows in this world and not say something about them, you know. Something besides laughing or scoffing or mocking the downtrodden, you know. Nothing really I dislike worse are people that feel like they're entitled and they're rude. They're so rude. It really pisses me off. And I always usually say something to them. And my favorite place to say something to them is in a very large group of them, all like that. And I'll be dressed just like I always dress. Mostly, I dress kind of like a bum, although I do look nice in dress clothes, but I prefer to be comfortable while they're all dressed in their dress clothes, treating people crappy. And then I bring it to their attention just what they look like, even to each other. That's my favorite thing to do, is to get in a crowd of them and expose them for what they are. I'm really good at it. So anyway, my happy Sunday thoughts. Yeah. So what do you think on I we should take a poll. Let's take a poll out here in the United States of America, or any country for that matter. How do you feel about helping countries beside yourself before you help the ones that are in your own country? That's not very cool, is it? I'll tell you how I feel about one thing, and I'll keep saying it till I drop dead. I don't ever want to see a flag from Israel flying next to our flag in the United States of America. It's not a state of our union. Get that fucking flag out of our White House and keep it out of there right now. That's how I feel about it. And I don't care who thinks what on that, because I know what that flag represents. So you aren't going to fly a flag in my country that tells me that you're going to kill me and everybody that I love and use everybody that I love for your gains. And you think I'm going to just sit here and say, well, fly your flag? No, I'm not. and all the agendas that they've implemented towards people, and people don't even realize where it all stems from and what it's all about. They're starting to, yeah, but not really. A lot of people still think that a Christian person is the same as a Catholic or a Jewish, or no, we are not. Our beliefs are entirely separate, and there's a reason for that. And they can call me Goyim all they want to call me. And they can say they're chosen. Yeah, you're chosen. You're chosen like when I go and pick out the best toilet paper. That's how chosen you are. I don't have to be chosen by God. He made me and loves me for who I am without a title. And that's how God loves. He doesn't choose people, people choose Him. And then He'll love you for that. That's called honor and respect. That's how we honor our mother and our father. That's the grace of God. That's what that means. Honoring your father. There you go. That's what that's all about. That's not just your physical parent. That's your spiritual one that put you here and created you. No, you're not a co-creator. You're just a tool. If you're a lovely tool, you can be more. That's more than an opinion. I do love y'all. That's why I'm out here talking to you, because some of you might need to hear what I'm saying, and others are entertained or for the company, whatever the reason is. I hope something I said touched your hearts, because I always speak from my heart regardless. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much. I do love you. Please realize that even if I'm angry, I'm trying to express myself in a less radical manner, and use a little more construction instead of destructive reasoning with people for your one last chance. Because it's all of our one last chance. If you look at every day like this is the last day you have to do things right, maybe that will help. I know it helps me. So, well, thank you for being here. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.